Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How is everybody doing? I put on my red lips for Christmas, so let's just hope that it works out today. Before the end of the year, I wanted to show you guys. I wanted to share with you guys some of my favorite books. These books were so impactful for me, and I just feel like anybody, whichever way you interpret it, will get something from any one of these books. So the first book would be
Ten-
Alrighty. Between the Worlds and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. This book was just amazing. 5 stars, amazing book. You will learn something from it. If not, you will take something away from it. This book is essentially a letter from a father to his son about growing up as a black man in America, and it was just, like I said, amazing, insightful, and profound. I don't know how to describe it without getting, I guess, political on my YouTube channel, so I just suggest you pick it up. Let me just read a little bit of the synopsis for you guys. It says, in a profound work that pivots from the biggest questions about American history and ideals to the most intimate concerns of a father for his son, Ta-Nehisi Coates offers a powerful new framework for understanding our nation's history and current crisis. Americans have built an empire on the idea of race, a falsehood that damages us all, but falls most heavily on the bodies of black women and men. Bodies exploited through slavery and segregation, and today threatened, locked up, and murdered out of all proportion. What is it like to inhabit a black body and find a way to live within it? And how can we all honestly reckon with this fraught history and free ourselves from its burden? Between the World and Me is Ta-Nehisi Coates' attempt to answer these questions in a letter to his adolescent son. And that's all I'm going to say. It is a National Book Award winner. Anyways, this book is amazing. I love it. Pick yourself up a copy. You will not regret it, I don't think. The next book that I got is another book that I got in college, and it is Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler. Now, this is a book, I read it literally in one day. Now, we had an option between 3 different books, and this was actually for a religious studies course, which was so interesting because I had the question, and I don't remember the exact question for this paper, but it was, how is the main character, Lauren, how is she like Jesus Christ? Is basically, yeah, how can you, I don't know I wish I knew the exact question, but it was for a religious studies course. Anyways, I read this book in a day. It was amazing. This is basically a dystopian America. Life is not as we would hope it to be. But what's crazy about this book, and let me put it down. What's crazy about this book is that I read this book, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I read it again this year because I recommended it to my girlfriend and she read it. We also read the second book, Parable of the Talents. I will say I don't like that book as much as I like Parable of the Sower, and Parable of the Talents is the main character Lauren's daughter's perspective. So the second book is her daughter's perspective. Anyway, I read this book years ago and it gave me goosebumps because it just felt like we're on the pathway to this kinds of world, you know? In Lauren's world, there are no police policing anything, and if you do want to get the police, you have to be able to afford them. And even if you can't afford them, the police might rob you or just take your money and not help you anyway. Space travel is a huge thing, which is destroying our environment. They live in small communities. Some people live in small communities that are protected by other people that live within the community so that bands of raiders don't get inside and steal what they have, rape, pillage, all of that stuff. Just crazy. There's a lot of people, for the most part, everybody is homeless and they just live on the streets, right? And you basically are traveling with Lauren and through her journey. She lives in this community and you find out what happens to her in this community and you go with her on this journey. Insane. I enjoyed it. And again, it just really creeps me out because it was so like, I just felt like something that was possible, something that could happen. Also, the president that is in power is somebody that essentially wants to make, the country great again. And I'm not swaying any way politically here. I don't want to even get into any of that mess. Feel free to leave your comments if you want, and you want to argue about stuff like that amongst yourselves, you can, but so that's not me. I'm just saying the book creeps me out. Now, this woman passed away years ago. Yeah, that's saying enough. Pick this book up. And the last book is another book by Ta-Nehisi Coates. And it is, and again, I hope I'm saying his name right. If I'm not, just put in the comments below. Tell me how you say his name. But it is The Water Dancer. Oh my gosh. I love this book. This book is like, I don't know, just like a story, like a I don't know, I wouldn't say a bedtime tale. This is kind of like there's a lot happening here that's terrible and sad. Let me read the synopsis because I don't know if I'm going to describe this the right way for you guys. But it says, young Hiram Walker was born into bondage when his mother was sold away. Hiram was robbed of all memory of her, but was gifted with a mysterious power. And I will say there's a lot of magical realism in this book. Years later, when Hiram almost drowns in a river, that same power saves his life. This brush with death births an urgency in Hiram and a daring scheme to escape from the only home he's ever known. So begins an unexpected journey that takes Hiram from the corrupt grandeur of Virginia's proud plantations to desperate guerrilla cells in the wilderness, from the coffin of the Deep South to dangerously idealistic movements in the North. Even as he's enlisted in the underground world between slavers and the enslaved, Hiram's resolve to rescue the family he left behind endures. This is the dramatic story of an atrocity inflicted on generations of women, men, and children, the violent and capricious separation of families, and the war they waged to simply make lives with the people they loved. Written by one of today's most exciting thinkers and writers, The Water Dancer is propulsive, transcendent work that restores the humanity of those from whom everything was stolen. This book is just beautifully written. There's references to Harriet Tubman in this book. Hiram is amazing. He grows up, as I read in this synopsis, he grows up on a plantation. And it's interesting because his father, I believe, and I read this book a long time ago, so forgive me if I am messing some things up, but his father is basically the owner of the plantation and kind of favors Hiram. It's frowned upon that he favors Hiram over his own son, but he does. So Hiram has he obviously doesn't like the fact that he is enslaved. He does not like the way his family and his friends are treated, but then he has this empathy and compassion for the people that are holding him in bondage. And you see his inner turmoil when he is navigating, how to escape and how to help other people escape. So I think I've said enough, but this book was amazing. Again, I said there's some magical realism. It's historical fiction. Love it. Octavia Butler. I don't think I read the synopsis of this book for you guys. Let's see. It says, when unattended environmental and economic crisis lead to social chaos, not even gated communities are safe. In a night of fire and death, Lauren, and I don't know how to say her last name, I swear. I say it in my head, but I'm not going to butcher it out loud, is a minister's young daughter. She loses her family and home and ventures out into the unprotected American landscape. But what begins as a fight for survival soon leads to something much more, a startling vision of human destiny and the birth of a new faith. That's it. That's all I gotta say about that. And then again, this book, amazing. 3 reads, 3 books that I think everybody should read, 3 books that I absolutely love. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I know I've been like in and out lately. I don't even like this right now, what I'm doing. But let's just hope that I didn't show stuff on my teeth this whole video. Fingers crossed. Alrighty, guys. So thank you so much for watching. I will catch you in my next video, which I hope to be about anticipated releases. There's some books, man, that I am excited for 2023, even though I have stacks of books to read. But you know how it is. You, us book people, we know how it is. So I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.